All right. So you guys all know who I am. Welcome, Kelly. My name is Kylie Matechuk. I am a nutritionist and yoga instructor here in Thompson. This is my third presentation here at the library talking about different focuses on health. And I believe in a holistic practice, so introducing holistic nutrition, kind of natural styles of exercise, supplements, emotional and mental health therapies, and all this kind of stuff. So I'm just talking about nutrition while I'm here at the library, doing quick little snippets about what kind of works in natural health. So I want to talk to you first about the diet that we are used to here in the West. It's called a Standard American Diet, or SAD, sad. But it kind of applies to everybody in the West, so North America, okay? So today I kind of want to talk about what a whole foods diet looks like compared to this. Now, of course, there's no judgment ever. We have been raised on this. We see this everywhere we go, and it's really hard because the proper information isn't out there for us to just get. So people sometimes feel frustrated or overwhelmed all of the time because they don't know where to access the proper information to make their bodies feel good. So the Standard American Diet, along the lines of evolution, we regress from eating the Paleolithic diet, which Paleolithic just means the foods that we kind of had from Paleolithic times, or the caveman diet, of meat, vegetables, occasional fruits, seeds, and nuts, compared to this, of processed convenience foods filled with chemicals and sugar. Is it any wonder that our medical system here in North America is the most advanced in the world, but disease rates are higher than ever? Diabetes, most cancers, and heart disease take root as a result of poor diet. So let's take a look at the typical SAD, or Standard American Diet, versus a day of eating healthful whole foods. So you can see here, look at the amount of food that we eat. We mostly eat carbohydrates, processed carbohydrates, and greens, which we need to be eating a lot of. It's just tiny, okay? And that's just all about education. So this is what a normal North American person might be eating in a day. Okay, so breakfast might be coffee with pasteurized cream, so pasteurized means boiled or cooked, and refined sugar, a pastry or muffin, and we see this when we go through the drive-thrus in the morning. Lunch could be roast beef deli sandwich or white bread with mayonnaise, potato chips, a diet soda. A snack might be like roasted almonds, packaged almonds, Twizzlers, chocolate bars, that kind of stuff. Dinner might be pasta with meat sauce, a baguette, iceberg lettuce, so the really light green lettuce with ranch dressing, maybe 2 glasses of white wine. And dessert could be like chocolate chip cookies, processed chocolate chip cookies. So if any of that made you guys feel bad, please don't feel judged. We all have eaten this way. Sometimes we all still do eat this way. It's very hard to come away from this when it's in our face and it's cheap, right? So this diet plan is comprised of nearly all processed foods. Well, it is, all processed foods. From the processed deli meat and mayo to the breads and pasta made with refined white flour. Many people think that they're making a good choice in drinking diet sodas, but the aspartame in it is as harmful as corn syrup. Iceberg lettuce is not salad. It's devoid of nutrients and is basically a carrier for pesticides. Roasting nuts destroys their natural oils, and cottonseed oil is a toxic cheap oil often used in processed foods and snacks. So this diet is low in essential fatty acids, antioxidants, and minerals, and is high in sugar and chemicals that actually leach nutrients from the body. So let's see how a nutrient diet stacks up compared to this. I mean, this doesn't look very appetizing. I mean, maybe the coffee, right? We gotta somehow kind of detach from the coffee. It's so yummy. So this looks a little bit healthier. Granted, the pictures look nicer, of course. So a fruit smoothie, or I have a smoothie bowl here, which is pretty cool, with unpasteurized whey protein powder or plant-based protein powder, or you don't have to use protein powder. You could use ground flax or chia seeds. You know, all of those health nut terms that we use, or green tea. A snack could be a handful of raw almonds. So as opposed to the roasted almonds in the last example, that wasn't pictured. Small plain yogurt with cinnamon. Lunch could be kale and white beans, sauteed in coconut oil, herb roasted chicken breast over brown rice or quinoa, kombucha or hot tea. And then here on the left, we have salmon baked with cultured vegetables or fermented vegetables or roasted vegetables. And maybe a glass of red wine as opposed to white wine if you feel you need wine. Dessert could be like a date or sesame cookies. So here's the thing. The SAD diet is filled with skeletonized foods that actually leave you feeling unsatisfied or craving more, as they don't have any nutrients or fiber that your body needs to feel satisfied. So the above meal plan maintains stable blood sugar, has probiotics and fiber for gut health, minerals, antioxidants, good quality proteins, and fats. Plus, you'll consume less calories and get more bang for your buck that way. A lot of people always ask me, it's more expensive to eat healthy. Well, you don't need to eat as much if you know how to properly prepare food. And sometimes that's the hard time too. We don't know how to cook anymore. We don't know how to cook when we could just go through the drive-through and get a coffee and a bagel, you know? So it's just all about learning. It's all about experimenting. It's all about researching. So if you're consuming a lot of processed foods, start by adding just one whole foods meal in at a time until you've made it kind of your whole day, because we eventually want to turn this into a lifestyle, right? You'll notice a huge difference. Your energy levels will be increased, you'll sleep better, and your work performance will become more focused and efficient, because nutrition is absolutely everything to how we feel. All right. So when we start talking about dieting, we have different reasons why we want to diet. We want to lose weight or we want to be fit. Most people want to lose weight, right? And it's really hard because what we do is we take that standard Western diet or standard American diet and we just kind of downsize it and we end up with this. So we still use this diet. When all we know is a diet of processed foods and empty calories, altering that same diet will not change anything. They will still leave us starving and undernourished because we need fat. We need vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and carbohydrates. Diets don't work because the motto of dieting is basically less is more and to focus on deprivation. Who wants to be deprived when they're eating? You know, I want to eat all the time. Our brain and body systems need to be adequately nourished. Okay? When this happens, homeostasis or balance occurs in the body and the appropriate weight for our frame comes easy. So it comes easy because we are being nourished. Nutrition helps us to have the energy to exercise. It helps us to sleep better. It helps with our behaviors. It helps the body system so that they become balanced. So body systems like our reproductive system or our glandular system, which we know, if out of balance, contributes to weight and energy fluctuations. So if we eat garbage all the time, and then we try to downsize that and diet from that same garbage, our body systems become out of whack, okay? So if we have, hypothyroidism, or if we have like we learned in the beginning in the stomach presentation, if we have issues with our liver, all these kinds of things contribute to weight gain, right? So if we go back to the basics, if we start feeding ourselves properly, everything will become balanced, and the frame that we are given will be able to kind of maintain a healthy weight properly without having to work hard and deprive ourselves of all of this kind of stuff. So take a look at your current diet, look at the amount of sugars, and look at the amount of chemicals in the food that you're consuming. It's often as simple as understanding the process. So, where did your food come from? That's another question. Where did your food come from? How did it get there? How do we move away from the standard American diet? Well, we got to start off with maybe substituting some of the foods that we eat. So I have just a little picture here of different types of sugars. I really focus on substituting everything. Substituting sugars, substituting condiments, all of these different things that contribute to not really a healthy diet. We can just substitute it with something healthier, and that makes it 100 times easier to be able to maintain a lifelong healthy lifestyle. So that's the trick, is the substitution. Giving up breakfast cereal leaves most of us wondering, what should we eat for breakfast? Or if we have kids, oh my goodness, what are we supposed to give our kids? So please keep in mind that the cereal we eat today was not anything like the original cereal that was created years ago, or that we ate when we were younger. Today it contains a wide array of toxic ingredients, including high fructose corn syrup, genetically modified sugar, contaminated grains and chemicals like artificial food coloring and flavoring, BHT, and many more things that we should never consume. Even the boxes contain chemicals. The boxes are lined with chemicals. So especially, we don't want to be eating all of this first thing in the morning, never mind ever. So eggs, fruits, vegetables, and homemade baked goods are ideal for breakfast. Another favorite is smoothies, like I showed you before. Raw milk is illegal to sell in Canada for many different reasons that we're not going to get into. But so many people who don't have access to raw dairy are reaching for alternative milks. So when we go reaching for alternative milks, we still have to read the food labels and all of that kind of stuff, because there are companies that are watching us as consumers, our every single move. Oh, we like almond milk today. We're going to make sure that we create a processed beverage because everyone's wanting to drink almond milk. Or, oh, everyone's gluten-free. Well, they're going to create all these companies of all these different kinds of foods so that the gluten-free people will buy their products, right? So these are still processed, so be mindful of the ingredient list. Most alternative milks on the market today have carrageenan in them. Carrageenan is an MSG used for thickening. It's toxic and hard to find milks without it, but they are here, even in Thompson. At all of the grocery stores, you can find this. Using low glycemic fruits like green apples and berries, and powerhouse vegetables like spinach, kale, and carrots are great to sneak into smoothies. I promise you could pack as much spinach into a smoothie as you want, you're not going to taste it. If you throw in a banana or a pineapple, sneak it in there, as long as you're okay with drinking something green. Chia and hemp seeds are also great additions. So we want to know what's in our food. So how do we read a food label? I don't know if you can't really see it. This is huge, okay, because there's all kinds of sneakiness happening in the food labels, okay? So if you want to be healthful, it's important to know the difference between what is health food and what is processed food or junk food, which is completely confusing in our society. Right now, we kind of think, oh, junk food is pizza, soda, and cookies, right? That's what junk food is. But these sneaky companies, they try to put everything into food that we think is healthy, okay? So junk food is actually laced in every single aisle that you would think is healthy, every single aisle at your grocery store. All natural on packaging means nothing, sadly. Products with high fructose corn syrup are allowed to use the words all natural on their labels. High fructose corn syrup. I've never seen a forest of high fructose corn syrup trees. It's not natural, okay? So it's just all about research and education. Makeup using parabens, which is a chemical, and other toxins are permitted to be labeled all natural as well. So get past the front of the label, flip it over, and look at the ingredients. Reading the nutrition contents are, in my opinion, kind of useless, which is this stuff here. We want to look at, I know this is all blurry, we want to look at all the ingredients. What is the first ingredient? That first ingredient should be what you're eating. If the healthiest ingredient is last on the list, you want to pass on that product. If the first ingredient is sugar or something that you cannot pronounce, pass, okay? Choose quality over calories. That is huge, quality over calories. Sometimes even the people that are trying to get really healthy or appear to be really healthy, sometimes even they forget. We get so wrapped up in all of these marketing ploys that we will go for, the gluten-free, the dairy-free, the everything-free, the soy-free kind of butter-like thing that looks nice, as opposed to just butter, So like you have to kind of look and see, okay, what am I doing here? I'm going to look at the ingredients. I'm going to make sure that this is a healthy product for me. So not everything is healthy, so we want to choose the quality over the calories. There's a difference in calories between sugar and meat. There's a difference in calories and fats between saturated fats and unsaturated. And the nutrition content is so deceiving when you compare it to the actual serving size that the manufacturer uses. So my suggestion is read the ingredients, and if you can't pronounce it, don't consume it, okay? And we could go into all crazy kinds of details on reading a nutrition label. Look at the ingredients first, look at the sugar content. I wouldn't even look at the fat. Just look at the sugar and look at what you are eating for ingredients. Okay? This is for some of us that have kids. I know me as a mom, it is very difficult to be able to buy food for children. Even working with children, seeing my children in schools, seeing children with all different kinds of food sensitivities and allergies. It's very difficult as a parent to be able to buy healthy food, especially when we grew up, with traditional or cultural dishes that we want to share with our kids, but even now we know are kind of not really healthy. And kids nowadays in society, they win over the parents. So this is where we, as parents or childcare providers, often slip up. We're healthy, we eat healthy food, but our kids don't want to eat it. When we have, keep in mind, and I teach this to my children, that anything with Dora, I don't know if you guys know who these characters are, Dora, Paw Patrol, or anything with Disney on it, Disney character, is most likely junk food because it's marketed so that your child sitting in the cart is going to grab for that. And if you don't give them that, whatever that is with the Dora on it, they will have a fit. They will scream in the aisle until you say, fine, I'm going to give it to you. Yay, the company's just won, okay? So actually, every time that you walk into a grocery store, you are a little pawn in this big marketing game. So the goal is for these companies for you to spend money. They want you to spend money on their products. They don't want you to become healthy. That's why when you walk into a store, you don't have the healthiest, most affordable foods in your face first. You have the junk food. You have the, it's just been Valentine's Day, so you're gonna have all this chocolate in your face, right? So a bag of carrots, apples, celery, cucumbers, peppers, berries, seeds, nuts, and sometimes a sweeter treat like grapes or bananas are great options for kids to eat or anyone of us to snack on. Education is always key for us parents to teach our children, explain to them from day one about food and healthy eating. So just that little thing, like I tell my children, if you see Dora on it, it's probably not healthy. And if you teach them from day one, it's easier to explain to, say, a teenager, which we can still get through to them. It's easier to explain to a teenager, about different types of food, especially when they have the freedom to go to a takeout place or they have jobs, they have money, and they can, sneak all this food in. Okay, so remember, they can only eat what you give to them. You don't need to feed your kids with toxins for them to fit in. Children need nutrient-dense foods, not food-like products laden with sugars, dyes, and chemicals. Food is a power struggle for kids and parents. Every time they refuse, we somehow reach for something less nutritious. We need to start choosing their diet because we are the adults that have access to the information and the ability to research what should be consumed by a growing person and what shouldn't be. They don't. These 5-year-olds that are just all over the grocery store, they shouldn't have the power to be able to choose what you, the adult, are purchasing for them, right? So it's all about information for yourself. It's all about informing your children or your school teachers, whatever it is. And there's a million recipes on Pinterest and just Google and, cookbooks. It's I Love to Read month. There's a million cookbooks for free right now. All this information is there. It's just hard because we live in a society where we're used to just having it thrown in our face. So sometimes we just have to dig a little deeper. So also, going back to, I know this is a very vague picture, but also kind of going back to just knowing how to cook and knowing about the process and that kind of stuff. So you could also make your own condiments, your own ketchups, your own mayonnaise, your own salad dressing, because that's where all the hidden chemicals and oils are hidden. So you can make your own mustard, mayo, salad dressing, and it's actually pretty cheap. It's cheaper to make all of this stuff than to keep buying all of these jarred foods. And you probably might know if your parents made homemade anything when you were little, that this tastes a lot better than the stuff that we're buying, right? Going into different diets, there's a million different diets. Now we have the keto one that has just come out. We have paleo, vegetarian, vegan, Mediterranean, raw, low carb, no sugar. Like, my goodness, how are we supposed to eat, right? Well, the good thing is that none of this applies to really anybody, okay? There are many different diets out there that people live by every day. So I want to explore just a few of the most popular ones. Now, keep in mind, when you are research prepared and educated in your choices, these diets, they might be very successful for you if they work for you, okay? If you look at paleo and think, oh, well, that's pretty cool, and then you start taking it, it doesn't feel good, and then you're having these mixed emotions on, well, I want to eat this way, but it's not making me feel good, then chances are you shouldn't be eating that way, And that's just kind of how it is, right? And it's hard when we get into ethics about vegetarian and veganism, but still we have to kind of look back at, we need to eat what is nourishing our bodies. So many people have success with these types of eating, many people do not. So when choosing the diet that works for you, understand the benefits and the contradictions, and usually quite quickly your body will tell you if it works or not. I'm going to go to paleo or paleo if you've ever heard of it. Paleo is kind of like the caveman diet, okay? So the Paleolithic diet focuses on good quality meats, fish and fats, nuts, plenty of vegetables, very few berries because they're not really into sugar, no grains at all, and mostly no fruits and no sugar. So the benefits, the Paleolithic diet recommends eating fresh vegetables, which increase your intake of vitamins, minerals, and fiber, as the typical American diet basically has no nutrients. The plan also recommends eating healthy and unsaturated oils, which is a good way to increase your intake of essential fatty acids, which most of us are deficient on. At the same time, you'll decrease your exposure to additives, preservatives, and other chemicals by choosing whole, unprocessed, organic foods. So all of these diets, there's many benefits to them, but there's also contradictions. So the paleo diet is somewhat restrictive and lacks variety for the contradictions. Because you must avoid legumes, dairy, starchy vegetables, and grains, you might find it difficult to stick on the diet, especially if you are really active. So those who are able to handle the restrictions, they might find themselves become bored from the lack of variety. If you're an athlete, you might find that the lack of carbohydrates isn't enough for you. And I also find for people that are very creative, or they're writing all the time, or they are content creating, you might need carbohydrates more than what this diet will help you with. Veganism. Veganism is a very restricted diet. Most people come to it for ethical reasons. They don't want to harm or eat anything that has caused harm to an animal. So eating foods that do not include animals or animal protein, so no eggs, dairy, meat, fish, shellfish, or even honey. Vegan diets contain grains, fruits, and vegetables. So the benefits of veganism requires an individual to explore other food options that aren't obtained from meat and animal products. Several studies have reported that vegan diets tend to provide more fiber, antioxidants, and beneficial plant compounds. They also appear to be richer in potassium, magnesium, folate, and vitamins A, C, and E. But the contradictions of veganism is that usually it's very poorly planned. A lot of people come into veganism because they don't want to hurt animals, so they just run into it. They don't research the diet properly, and then they become sick or ill. So insufficient amounts of essential fatty acids. It's very difficult to get essential fatty acids that we get from fish when we're vegan. It's still possible though. Vitamin B12, iron, calcium, iodine, or zinc are difficult to get. Excess amounts of fruits can actually lead to pancreatitis or type 2 diabetes. I have seen vegans who are thin-framed, they eat fruit all the time, smoothies all the time, and they become diabetic. Or they develop pancreatitis or pancreatic cancer because of all the sugar they're putting in their body from fruit. So you just have to properly plan. And then we have vegetarian. So vegetarianism are eating foods that do not include the animals themselves. So no eggs, meat, fish, or shellfish. Vegetarian diets contain grains, dairy products, fruit, and vegetables, just like veganism. The benefits are basically the same as veganism, except there's more food sources for nutrition. But the contradictions, again, the similarities are the same in regards to not getting enough nutrition, particularly protein. So basically, at the end of the day, we're all different. We're all biochemically different. I mean, there's still things that we need to focus on collectively that we need to avoid to make sure that we don't become ill or sick. But our culture and climate also need to be considered in the foods that we eat, okay? So we live in northern Manitoba. It's cold here all the time. We're not going to be eating a tropical diet. Even though certain things like mangoes and ripe bananas, they appear to be very healthy. If we're eating that all the time in a cold climate, like where we are, we might not react to it properly. So our one diet might work for one, but it might not work for another. We need to ensure adequate nutrition is achieved in every single thing that we consumed. That's why we can't pass judgment to one person that's eating differently than us, because their bodies are made up differently, right? When nutrition is met and is absorbed properly in the body, all body systems become balanced. Food sensitivities and allergies start to become less and less of an issue. Metabolism is restored, and we start to feel ourselves again. So look at your body and your own needs and ask yourself, how do you feel after eating beef? How do you feel after eating dairy? How do you feel after eating all these different types of foods? You got to look at your reaction and then work from it. Notice what works and doesn't work. Read your food labels. Don't be afraid to explore in the kitchen. We got to learn how to cook again. Eat what tastes good and feels good to your body. Release all judgment and don't look to others or society on your food choices because we want to eat to be healthy, right? So thank you, everybody. If you have any questions, please come see me. I want to know all your questions. I love when you guys ask me things. If you need to contact me, there's my information. And if you have any questions on the diet that you're eating or how to consume healthier foods, and you kind of don't know where to start, because I know it's very, very overwhelming, can be very expensive, because again, we're used to convenience and all this kind of stuff, please contact me. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful Wednesday. Thank you. You're welcome.